to join us on camera. You're welcome. Now I'll turn the floor over to you all so we get started with our Fireside chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Danny. Hello, good morning or good afternoon to those of you who are joining us this afternoon on East Coast time, or good morning to those of you on the West Coast. And for those of you who are watching this as a recording, I hope that you all have had a great couple of days here this week. So my name is Jordana Taylor. I serve as the Associate Director for Recruitment Engagement and Volunteerism here at Naspa. And this afternoon, we are hosting a fireside chat with one of our Naspa Graduate Associate Program cohort members, Delasia Rice. And so today's times really call for a better understanding of working and learning virtually. So our team here at Naspa, when we first started these Thursday events, shared how our team has found success in working remotely. So today we turn to one of our members to hear her thoughts on virtual learning, especially a learning environment that has intentionally been chosen to happen online. So Delasia Rice is a master's student at SUNY Brockport's Higher Education Administration online program. Today, Delasia will answer some questions about her experience, choices, and offer up some insight into how the online learning experience has been a positive experience for her. For those of you who may be experiencing online learning for the first time, or those of you who see this as becoming a more regular part of your learning experience, it's our hope that these next few minutes will help you gain a better understanding of this type of learning. So please join me in welcoming a member of our NASPA community and current member of the 2019-2020 NASPA Graduate Associate Program cohort, Delasia Rice. Delasia, please introduce yourself and then we'll get started.
Hello, everyone. So, as she mentioned, I am in the master's at SUNY Brockport for Higher Education Administration. I also received my bachelor's of science in psychology there as well. I'm also, along with NASPA, a member of the National Career Development Association. I reside in New York City, and once I graduate, I hope to work in career services, and I also have 3 boys.
Wonderful. So Delasia, thank you so much again for joining us this afternoon. So really just to get us started, tell us a little bit about what made you want to pursue a master's in student affairs to begin with.
So like a lot of people's story, it was an accidental finding for me, this field. I knew I wanted to be a career counselor. When I was a sophomore, I worked at Brockport's career services office, and I was talking with the career counselor there, and I thought originally that I wanted to get my master's in counseling generally, or mental health counseling. But then I started getting more involved on campus. I was an intern in alumni affairs. I was doing things with the diversity office. I was a McNair scholar. So of course, working in different functional areas, I realized I was more into the whole student aspect, not just career services, but I wanted my career to revolve more around student affairs and higher education.
Thank you so much. So in addition to being an online student, you are also right now currently based in New York, which has been really hit hard by this pandemic. Before we really get into your program and your online learning, can you just tell us a little bit of how this entire situation has affected you and your family? And how are you getting to unwind after being online if you're also limited to what you can do or if you really can't be outside?
It has been a little challenging because I just gave birth in March, actually, to my 3rd son. And so, yeah, having a newborn with all of this is not fun. So, and also, like I mentioned, I have 2 other boys who were supposed to be in daycare. So being home with 3 kids, trying to, do different development learning with them, plus my online schooling has been hard. And of course, with kids at home, I'm even more conscious of going out. I don't want to just go out to take a walk like I maybe would have, so I've been very limited on just getting out. So it's been hard, but one pro of my program is there's no actual logging in time. It's just we get the assignments for the week and we complete it by the next week. So I don't actually have to log in and get lectured for an hour, which I think is a pro for me. So being a parent and not being able to go anywhere, I do what I have to do with the kids during the day. I do have to wait till nighttime to be able to actually do my assignments. But after that, then it's just me time. And if I want to go to sleep, I go to sleep. If not, I just, hang out.
Well, that seems really helpful that you are learning in an asynchronous learning environment, especially during this time. So that seems to be incredibly helpful. And as I mentioned in my introduction, you very much intentionally sought out this master's program online. So how does engagement actually work with your professors and your classmates in this virtual space? And how is it even enhanced versus being in person?
Hmm. So it's very different from my undergraduate experience because I'm used to, after class, if I have a question, I stop the professor or go to office hours. But now everything relies, of course, virtually. Everything I have to do relies on email. So if I have a question, even if it's just one quick question, depending how busy the professor is, I may not hear back for a day or two, which is not something I'm used to, but I got used to it. But I would say it definitely enhanced for me because in undergrad, I was more on the quiet side. I wouldn't really participate in class unless it was like a partnership or something. But with it being virtual learning, we have discussion boards, and I know many people do not care for discussion boards, but someone like me who didn't really talk as much is actually the chance where I get to show my knowledge. So it actually enhanced a little for me. And also engaging with my classmates, we're all, I'm in New York City, and Brockport is, West New York. So I get the chance. I'm not really able to communicate with them as often as I would, but I actually sought out the people in my cohort so that I could build relationships with them.
That's fantastic. And that's a great point to make, that for many students who maybe are not as vocal in an in-person class environment, an online class environment can actually help you get some of those thoughts out that you probably wouldn't be able to sort of on the fly, if you're called on in class. So how do you find other ways of engaging, either in extracurricular activities or volunteer positions, as an online student, whether it's at SUNY Brockport or in other organizations that are related to what you want to do?
Mm-hmm. I wish I was able to volunteer with school, but since it's 7 hours away from me, that's why I decided to apply for the Naspa Graduate Associate Program, so that even though I'm not there with my cohort, being in Naspa, I'm able to still talk to them about it. I also sought out an internship from a college that's close to me at home, so I was doing that before this everything hit. And I'm also, like I mentioned, in the National Career Development Association, where I published an article with them. So just different ways that I try to, and just overall learning about the field more, taking the time to learn more.
So when you were looking to complete your master's program, or really as you were sort of searching for a master's program that really worked well or fit into what it was that you needed for your lifestyle and for your educational needs, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in trying to determine whether to complete this program in person or online?
Mm-hmm. I would say family was definitely what really helped me make my decision. Being a parent, before I would have wanted to do, I wouldn't have thought of an online program. To be honest, I would have automatically did the in-person just to, be able to connect with the professors immediately. Online wouldn't have even crossed my mind. But being a parent, my original choice of school would have been in Jersey, but I'm in New York City. So I had to honestly think, would I be able to travel to Jersey on a daily basis with the kids' schedule? So my schedule wasn't my own. It was evolving around my kids. So that was my main deciding factor. Then I happened to find out that this is actually the first year that Brockport's higher ed program ran. So it was like fate to me. I looked it up and I was like, oh, wow, and to see that I also didn't have to log on, so I could work during the day while my kids were in school. So being that it was online and I didn't have to log in was what made me really decide that this is a program that I need to do.
I think it's great that you have the opportunity to do this learning, at your own pace and at your own time, which is oftentimes something that many people don't often experience in their online programs. So some, online learning programs are synchronous, and so people do have to log on. So it's great to know that there are programs out there that folks can certainly seek out that have that sort of asynchronous learning opportunity there. So we do have a little bit more time. So I'd like to ask you a few more questions. In particular, what has surprised you about the sometimes negative response to virtual learning environments that you're seeing right now, whether that's online or from your peers or family and friends?
Yeah, so I did actually get a few comments that, oh, you're doing school online, I could never, or, things like that. And I guess what surprised me the most is, and I know this may not rely with everyone, because not everyone may have the technology or to be able to go to school online or different factors, but for those who do have it, and I hear those comments, is shocking to me since we're such in a busy time where, everyone is, there's a lot of adults going back to school. It just shocked me that online wouldn't be people's first option, since, like I said, the type of program I'm in, you don't have to really, oh, well, I got to get to class. You can just say, oh, you go to work and then, oh, let me knock out this assignment really quickly. So I guess it was surprising that it's not for those who are able to do it online, it's not their first option.
So being an online student, you still have to complete assignments, you still have to interact with your professors and classmates. So has there been a best or proudest moment that you've had in grad school so far?
hmm So I would say sometimes I have the tendency to pack on too much. So I was like, oh, being online, it'll be easy. So I can work full time and be a parent and then, be a part of GAP and try to do all these other internships and stuff. So at first it was like, wow, it's not as easy as I thought it would be, being that I have to hold myself accountable a lot. But it really did surprise me that even though I felt overwhelmed at times, that I really did come out strong for my first semester, hopefully this semester that I just completed. So I guess that would be my proudest moment, that this is my first time having to, hold myself accountable and having to make sure I have my to-do list together and still coming out strong.
So, Delasia, one of the things that you have done for Naspa and for GAP is you have actually written a blog post about your experiences. And I'm happy to link that in the chat for those of you who might be thinking about continuing to follow Delasia's journey. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you transitioned from an in-person program to this online program. You did your undergraduate, the traditional way, online on a campus. So, what has been the best thing about transitioning from in-person to online? And then on the flip side of that, what are some of the challenges that you maybe personally faced, sort of going from that in-person environment to online as well?
hmm So I would say first most challenging was not having as much access as I'm used to. Because when I was in Brockport on campus, it was like I mentioned, oh, I'm in the library, I'm stuck, let me go see if my professor is in their office, or, let me stop the professor after class. So I guess the most challenging would be and then even if I was up there, at least I would still have a little bit of access. But being so far away, not being able to communicate with others as I usually would, and again, not being as engaged on the campus itself as I usually would. Um, because I was in a master's program before this, and when I was in that program, I was able to, be a part of the campus like I'm used to. So it is a little hard, feeling a little distant from it. But I would say a good transition is just being able to work on my own time, and I don't have to worry about, oh, this is my schedule, this is my class, let me fit in all this. I can just work on my own pace, on my own schedule. So whoever is more needs to work on their own schedule, I would definitely recommend an online program because it has helped me plenty.
So what are your plans after your master's? Like what is your dream job? If your dream job were to fall into your lap at the end of your master's program, where in higher education would you like to land?
It is a tie between career services and trio. So if anybody who doesn't know trio, it like McNair, Upward Bound, things like that.
Is there something about those programs that, you yourself having been a McNair scholar yourself, so I can see how this is something that you are very much like tied to. But what is it about the career services field that you find to be really engaging? And thinking about the time we're in right now, right? Everything is moving virtually. People are having to sort of adjust their work styles and their learning styles to really accommodate some of this virtual space. Like, how do you think this is going to affect career services either in the next few months or in the next few years or even long term?
Something I did notice from some schools that I've looked into with their career services office is that even before this hit, a lot of people were trying to already move things virtually. So I know Brockport, you didn't always have to come in to get your resume reviewed. Or even the school that I'm doing my internship with, Metropolitan College of New York, you didn't always have to come in to get your resume or cover letter reviewed. You can get it. You could just send it in and we'll review it and then go back and forth. But definitely it will change, in-person meetings. Like, can't make it in person, Zoom, like everybody is doing now. You're doing this type of, you don't technically need to be in front of me at a desk to be able to do a career services appointment. I know some people may prefer that, so I can see it as being an option for those who may not be on the campus. They don't have to drive in. Maybe they could do it virtually. So definitely that. Even you can even do presentations on these type of websites. So people who do career services presentations, it does not need to be in person. Or for those who's in person but you can't make it in person, they can always log in. So I definitely think people were already heading towards making things more virtual, but this is showing them that it could be basically sped up.
Now, have you been to SUNY's campus, Delasia? Have you been able to walk around your actual campus?
Yeah. Well, when I was an undergrad. Not recently. We do, I forgot to mention, we do have 3 face-to-face seminars. So anybody in my program, once a semester, you can go face-to-face for a 2-day intensive seminar. So that also is where I got to meet my cohorts.
That's
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Delasia, as we sort of wrap this up, do you have any parting words for those people who are finding that this virtual environment is difficult or has been a harder adjustment, probably because it had to happen in such a short amount of time and it happened really quickly? Do you have any words of comfort for them as they continue to maybe finish up their studies? And any words of advice for anyone who might be listening who is now maybe thinking about pursuing a master's program in higher education online the way that you have?
I would say for those who are not really feeling the virtual space, to just give it a chance a little longer, find your space. I know for me, I'm lucky enough to have my mother watch my kids while I'm doing this. So, and I'm, in her room. So just find your space wherever you feel. It may not be your bedroom. It's definitely not my bedroom. It's my kitchen table. That's more that, find a place where you can be up and, TV off, where you'll be able to really focus. So yeah, even if you don't really care for it, try to push it out because we have to do it. So for those who have to do it, just finish strong as you would if you were in person. For those who are thinking about it, definitely yes, consider it. Don't listen to the people who, oh, I can't do it. Think about what's best for you. Like I had to think about what's best for me. I would have loved to do in person, but I realized this is what works for me, and I'm grateful that I have done this program. So think about what works best for you and your family or your situation, and yeah, consider Brockport's program.
Wonderful. Well, yes, if anybody has any questions about the online learning environment, or if you're interested in learning more about Delasia's program at SUNY Brockport, I'm going to put an email in the chat, but you can contact both of us via engage@naspa.org, and I'll make sure to send through any messages that you may have. But Delasia, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon, just talking a little bit about your personal experience and the fact that you have found success in an online, virtual learning space.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.